Hi, welcome to the Film Section podcast. I am Chris.
And I'm Mark.
What are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about The House is October Built, which, if you don't know it, it's a found footage horror film. And it was released in 2014, 2015, only domestically, like it was never in theaters. And the movie is about five friends that are stalked by a group of monstrous and mysterious disturbed individuals while on a road trip looking for the ultimate haunted house attractions. So it's basically just five friends on a road trip looking for really cool like haunted houses. And off the bat, I'm so surprised that hasn't been done before.
Yeah, upon like first viewing, I'm like, couldn't believe that no one thought of this prior. Like, it's especially with found footage and how especially like as since I've been alive, like I don't think it was such a craze when Cannibal Holocaust came out, but when Blair Witch came out, there were hundreds of clones, and not one of them was this, which is, you're right, is very surprising.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because it's a movie that perfectly lends itself to being found footage. Like the entire plot is almost like revolves around it being these friends and these other and like this group of people known as like the blue skeleton that end up kind of terrorizing them towards the end of the movie. Just how much like the found footage is perfectly utilized. Like it's not used as a gimmick, whereas I think you watch a lot of found footage movies now, like Paranormal Activity, where it is very much a gimmick. And you can make the same movie without found footage, and it wouldn't be any different.
Right.
Right. Whereas this movie is like the entire movie hinges on it being found footage and it being believable and all like authentic feeling found footage, which it does. The When the movie was made, I don't know if you follow Good Bad Flicks on YouTube.
Yes.
But they made a House is October Built video, and they were kind of talking about how the movie was pretty much entirely self-financed by two of the guys. I think it was Zach and Bobby.
Yeah.
Were the two that basically paid for the movie out of pocket to finance it. And so when they finally made it and they took it to like different festivals and stuff to get it picked up, the production company was like, this is good, but we basically need you to remake the entire film.
Oh yeah. I do remember hearing about that.
And so I think the only thing that was left from like the original film that they made were the interviews that are spliced in, where like they talked to like the different like haunt workers and stuff.
Which I want to say they were placed very well within the movie.
Oh yeah,
placed well.
And I want to say they're real. Like those interviews, I believe, are completely truthful.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think it's only when you get to like the five friends and they're kind of doing the haunts where it's a little staged, where like the angry like workers and stuff are obviously actors and everything like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that the movie was made so authentically, I think really kind of is apparent when you watch it, is that it feels like a very like authentic movie that you could be fooled into believing that this could be true, especially with how it ends and how the perspective kind of shifts. And we'll get into that as we go through the movie. But yeah, so I don't know. Where did the movie start off?
We meet our film documentarians. Brandy, Zach, Bobby, Mike
and right? Jeff, yeah.
Mike and Jeff. They are going to go across the country and stop at whatever haunts they find.
Yeah, they're trying to find
They are
the most extreme ones.
Yes, yeah, they're trying to find the most extreme, and they're documenting it. Along the way, they seem to have heard about something called the Blue Skeleton, which has some kind of it feels like in the beginning of the movie as we go, it feels like some kind of myth.
Mm.
But as they get along, they hear more and more about it. And but man, for a found footage film, this does a really good job like setting up the characters.
Oh yeah.
You know, the one guy's a wild boy. He's there when they're going around all the different haunts. He's like bringing women in the trailer and hooking up, and he's a funny dude. He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
They have the whole scene in the beginning where it's really, you kind of get to know them, where it's just they're going to like the first haunt and they're just sitting around talking and stuff and messing with each other, and it's very authentic. Like you could see like they didn't play the conversations like they were scripted, or like it just seemed very real.
Oh yeah, it definitely feels like just five friends on a road trip. And I mean, I think that like in real life, like these characters had to have actually been like real friends or something.
I think so,
It
yeah.
feels so like it really feels authentic, and it really feels like when the character of Brandy is ever put in any sort of like danger or peril, that the other guys like instantly are like instinctually like there to like protect her, and it feels like and it does feel like the camaraderie between everything or between all of them is just like it actually feels there, and it does add to like the like authenticity of the movie and how it feels, which is really cool.
So they make it to the first haunt. They interview some of the haunt actors. They go through the haunt,
Mhm.
which is, I mean, it's your basic haunt.
Yeah.
They kind of treat it, they treat it like it's basic. They walk through like, oh wow,
Yeah.
but it's really like, I thought it was really cool how after or during they'd splice in these interviews, and they were pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, especially because it's like to think about if people accidentally or being like killed or murdered or something at these places, and as like a customer like walking through, you wouldn't know the difference. And they even make a comment about it where Mikey, like the party dude, is like, if someone were to like throw like a real human limb at me in one of these haunts, I wouldn't even know.
No.
And I think that's really kind of like the movie does a really good job at exploring sort of this weird kind of counterculture with like haunted attractions. Where it's like the some of the like the workers, especially when they get to like the backwoods sort of stuff, it gets really like legitimately freaky, because it's like this might actually like this seems like it could actually be real. Like these people are actually this like deranged, and they're working in these haunts.
So then it's either the second or third one they pop up to. We get to see a recurring character, the girl with the doll face.
Yeah.
Super fucking creepy, dude.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah, fucking great, but creepy as
So
fuck.
creepy. Yeah. I mean, and the fact that she pops up throughout the movie, and a lot of times she's hidden in so many shots too. And especially in like the sequel to the movie, she's hidden everywhere. She's almost in like every shot. Which is so cool to kind of have there. Like there is a real kind of, it feels like a supernatural kind of weird mystery going on. And yeah, she's creepy as she's super creepy. And then after they find her, and Mikey invites her onto the bus.
Oh yeah.
To see like if she's okay, if she's lost, and she just starts screaming.
Yeah.
Like super tense and super eerie. She's just like freaks out and then walks off the bus.
Oh. So then this is where things start to get weird for them.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they're all sleeping and they're being filmed.
Oh wait, hold on. You're jumping ahead.
Oh, I am okay. I'm jumping a little.
There's before that. There's the scene where it's right before they do like the zombie paintball stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay. And they park their RV and they find a fire pit that had like just gone out. And as they're sitting around talking, one of like the workers from the haunts comes up and basically kind of like spooks them. And I would say that's where you kind of get the first inkling that like these characters might actually be in some danger, because I don't remember who it was. I think it was Zach, like asks the guy sitting with them, like, so what is it, about like these like backwoods sort of haunts? And the guy just looks at them like stone face and just is like, what do you mean backwoods? And it's so like intimidating and just like, oh my God, no.
Was it, I'm trying to think the sequence of events. Was it prior or after the filming scene when they find that thing in the fridge and the dude starts fucking hawking? He's like, ah.
That was after they were filmed in their
right? That was like in the morning, right?
Yeah. And so then after like they talk to the guy who's like, what do you mean backwoods? They actually go to the backwoods haunt, which is about like 35-40 minutes into the movie now at this point.
Yep.
And I gotta be honest, that haunt, wherever they were, like that whole sequence is legitimately scary. Like the haunted, like there were a few moments while they were walking through the haunt where I actually did jump. I was like, okay, like damn. And it's at that backwoods haunt where they finally get some information about the blue skeleton, about like where it is and where they can find it.
Oh yeah, they were where they end up in New Orleans, right? And they were just talking to someone. Yeah, they were talking to a guy in the streets or whatever, like because there's like a big Halloween type thing going on. Yeah. And they end up talking to this guy about it. Yeah. They point them in the right direction. Yeah. Actually, I don't even know about point them in the right direction. They just kind of were like, got approached. Like, here you go. You want to know about it?
Yeah. And so then they go to one more haunt before their RV gets broken into. And at this haunt is when there's like the clown that's sort of dressed as like Pippi Longstocking, sort of. And he is funny and scary at the same time. Because when I think it's like Zach is like, hey man, it's okay, bro, and the clown's like, I'm not a man, I'm a clown. And then he's like, you remember yesterday? I wasn't born then. And so this clown is getting mad at them because they were filming. And he was like, like, why you got your cameras? Give me your cameras, like destroy the film or whatever. And then as he is kind of being pushed away, he's like, I'll kill both of you two, and then I'll take Brandy and do some stuff with her. And they were like, all right, you like, and that's where like the tension I think is like really, like we're really starting to get a lot of like tension now building in the movie.
They have that scene in that bar, like that backwoods bar
lounge, yeah.
Yeah, man, and that got a little intense also.
Oh yeah, they go out to talk to a character named Giggles to find out more about the blue skeleton and where to find it.
Yeah. For Giggles.
Yeah, and so while the guys go out to talk to Giggles, they leave Brandy alone in the bar with the camera. And so these two like backwoods kind of haunt workers take the camera and start to corner Brandy in the bathroom. And it's like it's
like filming movies.
and it's tense. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty
super
tense right
tense.
there.
And then it's after that where their RV gets broken into, and then they find it on like a forum or something the next day.
Oh yeah, they were watching on like the they end up seeing it on the iPad on like a forum. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then that's when
I'm
Mikey.
still not sure what that was in the fridge.
It could have been like a cow heart or like a liver or something. That's what I thought it was because it didn't look like a human organ at all.
Yeah, that dude was like really, it really bothered him.
Yeah, I mean, it was gross.
It looked very gross. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it was like that same night where they're in their RV, and that's when like all these like haunt workers surround the RV and start like trying to break in and stuff.
Yep.
Which again, it's a really smart scene because it's just the movie with almost no jump scares, yet there's scares throughout. You know, like I don't know if that makes sense or not.
There's the haunt scares and like the general creepiness of some of the workers, and then you feel it. You feel the tone shift
Mm-hmm.
when like something like that happens, or like when they're being filmed while they're sleeping.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of tone. Like at first you're like, yeah, some of these dudes are weird, and then when it gets to that kind of stuff, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Like it definitely they do a really good job of you like actually fearing for the safety of these characters,
Yeah.
which is great. And so when they finally get to Baton Rouge and they're looking for people belonging to the Blue Skeleton, they start getting like abducted.
Yeah. Yep.
And so one of them, it looks like one of them gets beaten and then abducted, and then the other four try to find him in their RV and they get cut off by like a bus.
Oh yeah, yeah. And they like hood them up so they can't see anything.
Mm-hmm. And then that's where the perspective of the movie changes too, where it goes from our five characters now to it's the Blue Skeleton people filming them and being in charge of the found footage and everything.
You know what else adds to the eeriness of that is like when they're driving and stuff, you just hear these Blue Skeleton dudes like talking like normal and shit.
Yeah.
It's like super eerie. That's kind of eerie. They're like
they just sound like rednecks.
Chill. They're like, yeah, we got these people with hoods over their heads. They don't know where they're going. We kidnapped them. Hey man, how's your day going?
Yeah, it's freaky. And so they unhood the five, and are told to go through this actual house that has haunts, and like the entire time you feel like these people are actually like about to get murdered.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. This was intense.
Yeah, it gets really intense, and the fact that the movie ends with such an ambiguous tone where it's like you don't know if it was real, you don't know if they're alive. The movie ends with the five of them seemingly getting buried alive.
Yeah.
And that's like watching that, I forgot how like not cool that scene is. Like especially
after I saw it, well, when I initially watched it the first time ever, I was like, God, I was like, oh shit. And then after seeing it, I'm like, and knowing where it goes, I'm like, man, that is a well-crafted experience. That like I feel like it's like one of those one of those movies where rich people pay a price for like some premium shit,
Yeah.
like premium experience type shit. You're like, you ever see The Game with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn?
I don't think so, actually.
Yeah, duh, it's fucked up. It
But
kind of like the situation sort of reminded me of this.
but yeah, no, it's just like that scene, especially where it's Brandy and she's in like the wooden coffin, and they keep alternating between inside the coffin with her to the guys digging back
Yeah,
or whatever, um, like burying her alive and everything. It's so like tense because you're like, oh my god, like is this really happening? Um,
yeah,
and then you get to the second movie, and we'll probably do that like next season or something. But
that's totally fine with me. I
um,
mean, as little as possible.
it's oh my gosh. So is what to you, I guess, are like your favorite aspects of of the movie?
My favorite aspects of this movie were the tonal shifts. Like when they're going through the regular haunts, even the backwoods haunts, it started out like it perfectly paced it, where it was like, oh, you're just at a regular haunted house, like anybody would go to. And as they
Mhm,
go on, the haunt workers get kind of weird, and the haunts get weird, and then there's the shift of tone when it's like when talking about the blue skeleton or as they got closer,
mhm.
um like that bar scene, like that scene they go in the bar and that girl gets cornered and they want to talk to Giggles or whatever, like that's also a tonal shift that goes from like, all right, this is creepy fun creepy haunt workers versus like some real shit, like and
Oh yeah.
they did really well with that aspect of the film. um they also did a good job not boring you to death, because a lot of these are just like stupid scenes of people like found footage. A lot of these are
Mhm,
scenes of people fumbling around with cameras, doing nothing that contributes to the movie. Like it just seems like filler. But this movie did not have an ounce of filler. It was all like, keep your eyes on it. Keep your eyes on it.
mhm.
There's something happening. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It definitely did. It was the pacing was just so like spot on, where it does such a good job of giving you just enough into these characters for you to like them, because they are all likable characters. Like there's not one character that I had a problem with. Even the guy who was kind of pushing them to keep going with the haunts, I was kind
Yeah.
of sitting there and I was like, I mean, honestly, that I would probably be that guy. So I can't. So I was like, it
Right. Right.
like every character was had a really good place. And so when like shit starts to hit the fan with them, you're invested enough to really be concerned. And then it's also like it's only about like 25-30 minutes in where things start to get a little like off.
Yeah.
um and they keep that, and once things start to feel off, it just escalates more and more. Is And also one of my favorite things about this movie is that a lot of found footage movies, and even the movie that we're going to talk about next week is sort of guilty of this. Is glitch effects in found footage movies. I
Yeah.
hate glitch effects. This movie didn't really have many until the very end, which was okay. Um, but throughout the entire movie, no glitch effects, which
No.
I'm just like, thank God, because the glitch effects are just so like they're just distracting.
I mean, if you do it when it's warranted,
Oh
kind
yeah.
of like, and I don't even think it glitched a lot, but like Blair Witch. Blair Witch was warranted in having glitch effects because it was giving you the supernatural vibe.
Yeah.
It was like they're in a certain place and you'd get these glitchy effects because, there's probably some ghosts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or when, that the classic scene when you drop the camera, like the
Mhm.
end of the movie and the camera drops and it starts like glitching out, which is fucking warranted. Like,
Oh yeah.
but like when you're doing it in the movie, you're just like, yeah, it's fucking cool, do it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean the first Hell House doesn't do it too bad, but when you go to like the second or third, it's like it's a lot.
yeah.
Um so is there anything from House of October built that you don't like? Because I'm really struggling to find a dislike
No,
with the first House of October built.
no,
No, it's just I mean it's pretty to me it is I mean it's my favorite found footage horror movie. Um
it is a fantastic found footage horror movie.
so out of 10, what would you rate it?
I'm gonna give this a 9.
Yeah, I will definitely echo that. A 9 out of 10. I mean, I'm really struggling to think of a way to make it better. And if I'm being honest, the only thing I could think of that would have made the movie better is if they didn't make sequel. And that's not a knock on the sequel, but it is like I think the movie would have been more effective if
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's just
yeah. Uh, I mean, the sequel held my attention, but it didn't hold my attention like this did.
yeah, and it feels like the like what the sequel does is that it kind of it it changes your perspective of the first movie a little bit
Yeah,
where now watching it you are a little bit like almost not as worried about what's going on because you know ultimately what it like actually becomes.
yeah. It's fucking eyes wide shut. No, I think the fault of the second movie is I feel like it exposes too much of the blue skeleton.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it gives you a little too much.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think a solid 9 out of 10 for this movie.
Yeah, 10 for absolutely.
I mean, even down to like the sound is so good. Where the sounds of the haunts are really good. Even in like the final shots where the blue skeleton are like seemingly burying Brandy, and like they're putting the dirt over her. You can hear her like muffled, kind of like screaming for them to get her out. And even
Yeah,
something like that, something as tiny as that in a found footage movie and in a pretty cheap found footage movie
yeah.
really goes a long way.
To say I was excited for this movie to come out is an understatement. In this day and age where I don't know, like it used to be when movies came out on Blu-ray or DVD, I was going to the store on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the fucking store on Tuesday when this came out and I bought it.
Oh
I
yeah.
bought this and I bought Horns,
Horns. That's a good movie. I like that
which is
movie.
another solid fucking movie. And when did this come out? I feel like it came out right around my birthday because I remember posting about it being like, I bought some gifts for myself. And one of them was House's October Bill. I was very hyped for this movie. Very hyped.
Mm.
And it paid off. It paid off well.
Oh yeah. It yeah, it's a movie that I think every Halloween season it should be watched. And I think even doing like a double feature with House of October Built and Hell House and doing like a double feature is a great way
Kind
to
of what
spend the
we're
night.
doing.
What?
It's kind of what we're doing,
Oh
sort
yeah.
of.
Oh yeah, that's what we're doing. I mean, this is part one of two parts of found footage films. So
What is it? I damn it. I just let Oh, you were talking about movies that you have to watch during the Halloween season. Uh one of the movies on our list that we're going to do, House of the Devil, man. I have to watch that like during the Halloween season every year now since it came out. we'll talk about it, but
Yeah.
it's something that is in the stack every year since it came out. Like I have to watch it. Just has that kind of atmosphere.
Definitely. So I kind of wanted to shift gears a little bit, and I did want to talk about like the found footage horror genre, like as a whole. Um, because when I think of found footage, I think of it that it's come in essentially three waves. Where what's widely considered to be the very first found footage film is Cannibal Holocaust. Where I mean, when that came out, I mean, the director had to go to court to prove that these people were still alive. Like,
yeah,
people were not ready for that.
That wave, I don't know. It was a little bit of a wave, but it was like an Italian wave.
Yeah, well, it was more just like it introduced the world to like this new kind of subgenre of horror. But then yeah, it wasn't until '99 where Blair Witch Project came and just became ingrained in the zeitgeist.
We got a slew of found footage,
Mm-hmm.
all in a very short span of time. Actually, one of the most interesting things to me about Blair Witch was the year before this movie came out called The Last Broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a found footage film. I like it. Not done as well as the Blair Witch because of the kind of stupid ending, but I liked it. It had a feel. It had a feel much like House's October built a little bit. Except it felt a little more real because it was like they were showing the footage, but it was like they had fake documentarians like doing interviews over it.
Right.
Which was different. I mean, obviously we all saw Blair Witch, and like, I mean, they did those. What I liked about Blair Witch was like all the interviews they did with the townspeople. I liked all that stuff too prior to going in because they set you up with like the mythology and everything.
Yeah. Well, I think what really sold the Blair Witch Project and that it became a phenomenon was this was the first time that we had really seen like the internet provide like really be a key part of marketing for movies.
I got to tell you something. It's kind of embarrassing. I was 18 when the Blair Witch Project came out. After the first time I watched it, there was a week at night that I wasn't going through my house without turning the light on in every room that I was going into. It actually freaked me out. It really, like, specifically that scene when that dude's standing in the corner because of the fact earlier in the movie they tell you that story.
Yeah.
And that sticks. As soon as you see that happen, that story pops back in your head and you're like, oh, fuck. That shit, it's a guy standing in a fucking corner. That shit was creepy as fuck, dude.
I think it's always interesting when you hear people say the Blair Witch Project isn't scary and it's just boring and it's just people walking around for 2 hours.
Essentially, yeah, but if you really watch that movie.
Yeah. And also I think when you hear a lot of the people that say it, it's a lot of kind of younger people that have now seen like more extreme stuff. And also they don't understand the initial impact that they've had where with they had the website for like the missing people and they had different clips and interviews and everything. They had like fake obituaries and stuff.
They had that sci-fi special. They did like they did a sci-fi special, and yeah, they tried as hard as they could to make people believe that those were real people and that they were dead.
Yeah, and they refused to they basically were telling the three actors like don't show up in public, don't do any sort of press or anything for a while. Like we want. And it was so crazy that these two filmmakers really got a lot of people to believe that they had gone to the theaters to essentially watch a snuff film.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so I remember, reading like interviews and watching interviews and stuff, and there were like a lot of people that were actually upset when they like learned that the movie was not real. Like they were like, "You fooled us," Like they were upset because they were tricked into believing that they had just watched a snuff film. It's like Regal Cinemas is not going to
cinema legally that's going to be like, oh, is this real? Throw that shit on.
Yeah,
that's a crime. I'm sure I'm in the minority here, but I actually do like Blair Witch 2.
Oh, I do.
You like it?
Book of Shadows, or are you talking about Blair Witch?
No, Book of Shadows.
Blair Witch. I like Book of Shadows.
Blair Witch was kind of a piece of shit. It's
pretty much a rehash.
Yeah, but stupid.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good. But Book of Shadows is really good, and I feel so bad for the filmmaker of that movie because of what he was trying to do. And even when you watch the movie, you can tell what the movie is supposed to be.
Yes.
And that's what I really enjoy, that the movie gets really weird and really psychological.
Upon my first viewing ever of that movie, I thought it was the biggest pile of shit. But then after a while, I thought about it. I'm like, well, I was probably expecting something else.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get what I was expecting, so I didn't like this. And I have a friend who I'm still friends with, been friends with like 20 years. He brought over the DVD one time, and on the DVD, there's like a game. And it's like, and it basically shows you all these things in the movie you don't like directly see.
Mm-hmm.
And point them out to you so that when you actually see them in the movie, you're like, holy fuck.
Oh, yeah, it's super smart.
Exponentially better. Like,
oh, yeah.
I really like that one. And it's got a burn notice in it. The first time I saw him on burn notice, I'm like, that's the guy from Blair Witch 2.
Well, it's so funny when you watch Book of Shadows, because it's like painfully obvious what in the movie was a studio mandated reshoot. Where the little bits of gore that you see were actually filmed in the director's backyard. The scene where Burn Notice is in the asylum and is like bouncing off the wall was a reshoot.
I heard what it was. It was like the ending and stuff that was different.
A little bit, yeah. Like it was supposed to be a lot more psychological, but the studio was like, no, you have to make it more gory and jump scary.
Yeah.
And so I feel bad because as I said, it's such a good movie, and I wish there was like a director's cut of it, because I'm sure the director's cut is phenomenal. And so after Blair Witch is what I consider the third wave of found footage, which is like your Paranormal Activities.
Oh, I know we went to the third wave, but I have to go back just for a second because we're talking about these slew of ripoffs. There was a softcore porn called the Bear Wench Project. It was always on Cinemax, dude. It just popped in my head. It's so funny. They actually did it's kind of stupid. No, it's just all the way stupid. It was called the Hip Hop Witch. And it was like all these just intercut scenes kind of in sort of the nighttime film vision mode. And there's like all these rappers in it. And it was just nonsensical. It was just like them up close to the camera. And they're like, yeah, I know about the Hip Hop Witch. Like Vanilla Ice was in it. Dude, it was ridiculous.
Do you remember... I mean, maybe not, but I think it was like 2000. It was either like 99 or 2000, where Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network did like a parody of Blair Witch Project where Mystery Inc. is lost in the woods, and it's literally like it's only like 30 minutes, but it's like there's like actual shot for shot recreations of Blair Witch Project. Like there's a scene where I think it's Shaggy is like standing in the corner.
Oh my god, no! I'm gonna have to look that shit up.
Dude, it's on YouTube. It's amazing. It's
Oh, I'm
so
gonna have to
good.
look it up for sure. That's
Like they legitimately do a found footage Scooby Doo episode essentially, and I think it was like promotion for like Zombie Island or something.
oh, okay, okay.
But it was just like it's so cool to see, and again that's what I mean by like the just the impact that Blair Witch Project had, that it had gone all the way to Cartoon Network.
Didn't they do like some goofy scene and scary movie, like parodying the Blair Witch?
Yeah, where uh Gail Weathers, whoever was he was holding the camera. Well, it was her cameraman was like running and he like gets killed or whatever. And so she picks the camera up and she's like, I'm sorry. And then her nose just starts to like
Yeah,
run
it's like,
all over the camera.
I'm so scared. Yeah, yeah. It did. It had a huge impact on everything.
Oh, yeah.
The third wave.
Was to me was like your Paranormal Activities, where it's like you started seeing kind of the analog went out and the digital kind of age of security cameras and
Oh yeah.
like kind of found footage like that, where um I'm not I personally don't really like the Paranormal Activity movies because, as I said earlier, you could do those same movies without the found footage aspect and it's still going to be the same movie.
I liked the first one. And then I liked the marked ones. I actually kind of like that one.
I never saw the marked ones.
It's pretty decent, dude. Yeah, then they came with a slew of found footage.
Oh, yeah.
But unlike just ripping off the Blair Witch, there were movies that were found footage, but they had their own ideas. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like, oh, there's a ghost in my house. Point the camera.
I mean, some like, and I think that's where, and it's, I kind of attribute it to Paranormal Activity, where after that, you just got an entire array of found footage movies where some are good, some are terrible. Like when you look at the good ones, like Hell House or like Taking of Deborah Logan or
Taking
something,
of Deborah Logan is amazing.
so good. There's a found footage movie called Butterfly Kisses that's like a meta found footage film, and it's about a director trying to make there's like an urban legend in this town about this whoever this like killer guy is that stands at the end of the tunnel, and you have to like stare at him for it's like 11 minutes or something without blinking, and if you do, he'll come and kill you, and he'll get like closer and closer until he kills you. And what's crazy about that movie is, so it's the filmmaker trying to figure out this urban legend while also trying to get people to like believe him about it. And so he talks to one of the directors of the Blair Witch Project, and the guy from the Blair Witch Project is like, "Hey man, this is stupid. Like found footage is fake. You're like a loser and stuff." And so it's a weird meta found footage film that, even though it's not the scariest, it's just super smart. And
yeah.
And then there's also foreign found footage movies. Like, I don't know. Have you ever seen Ganjam Haunted Asylum?
I think I watched that like last year or the year before.
Dude,
yeah,
that movie is
pretty good.
Scary. Like scary.
Yeah. What the fuck? There are some pretty terrible ones. Like there is one that is absolutely awful. The Devil Inside.
Is that the dude from no? What's the Devil Inside?
It's like a possession found footage.
It sounds so familiar.
A lady gets possessed. She has a daughter or whatever, and they just think she's crazy. They put her in an asylum, and then these documentarians get together with the daughter, and the daughter, like her mom's like in an asylum in Italy, so they go to Italy and they go
Okay,
to talk.
yeah. I've seen this, yeah.
Yeah, and then it kind of ends abruptly and stupid.
Yeah.
A stupid movie.
Yeah. I mean, there are, for every great found footage horror movie, there's probably like 50 just god awful ones.
Like as above, so below. Too shaky. That movie is too shaky for me.
Yeah, that's for sure. Um there's it's, I don't know if it's a Hispanic found footage horror movie called Atrocious, where the movie itself is kind of boring, but
Yeah.
the very ending is
Yeah,
amazing.
I saw that a while ago.
Yeah,
I somewhat remember it. But
the
I
ending
remember it being,
was like a huge twist ending at the end, and it's like actually freaky.
I mean, you got Wreck.
Wreck is good, you know.
Wreck's pretty good. I fuck with Wreck.
And then of course the VHS franchise.
Yeah, you watched 94 yet?
Not yet.
Oh, what the fuck, man?
Well, I've been a little preoccupied this last week.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I guess I can't fault you.
but but yeah, no, it's I mean, there's some found footage movies that are just like comically bad. Like I don't know if you've seen the Bad Ben movies on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I put that first one on for like 10 minutes,
So
and I was
bad.
like, "Oh fuck,
It's so bad.
this is not good."
No, but like that's the point of it. Is that like
Yeah.
this dude's just actual house and he's just walking around it. And it's funny because he's like, I bought the house from an auction, and so but he walks in and it's like it's still fully furnished. He's got everything. There's still a TV on the wall. It's like, dude, this is your house. Like, oh my god.
Oh my god. I mean, yeah, I feel like this third wave is been a lot more creative with found footage than previous. Previously, the 80s, 90s, early 2000s were like, hey, what's the hit? We need to ride this wave, make
Yeah.
the same movie, but with like it was like when Scream came along. Everybody needed to have that smart slasher with all the high school kids in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the who's who, the Michelle Gellers and the Freddie Prinzes and all that.
Well, I mean, do you think that? I mean, like, do you think that found footage is, or do you think there's going to be another found footage that sort of makes the impact like? I mean, I don't think any found footage movie is ever going to make the impact that Blair Witch Project ever made.
Right.
Do you think there's going to be a found footage movie that sort of has that impact like Paranormal Activity does?
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. I'm sure once. I mean, it's definitely faded again.
Oh yeah.
I feel like a few more years something will kick it back up. It doesn't just go away.
I mean, I hope so because I mean, found footage is a genre that I don't think is respected a lot. I don't think by the general audience it's not very like I think people look at it as like a very cheap kind of gimmick
I mean,
where, you know,
I could actually think of some decent ones that have come out in the last few years. Like, it's not horror, but Searching. Have you seen Searching?
It's a great movie.
Pretty good. What's the other one? It's more horror. Like, I actually thought it looked really stupid, and then I watched it. Unfriended.
I heard that was actually pretty good. I heard that people liked
pretty
it.
good. There's one that forgive me, I don't think I remember the name, but it was recently on Shudder. But it was almost kind of like Unfriended. It was like all these people like having to meet on a webcam, and they summoned like a spirit or something, and it was pretty fucking decent.
Well,
Honorable
I mean,
mention
even like,
goes to,
even Sinister, sort of, it's not a found footage movie, but it has found footage
oh boy,
aspects.
oh boy, that found footage was out of control.
That was dark. Yeah.
Woo! Was dude, that would, yeah, I forgot about that.
Mhm.
I actually really liked that movie too.
Um,
Uh,
what was that?
except for kind of the end, it was a little,
Yeah. And then there
but
was wasn't like Chernobyl Diaries, wasn't that a found footage movie?
yeah, it was. I don't think it was very good.
It's not good, but it
At
was, to me,
moments,
it was a really good idea though.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's sort of with a lot of these found footage movies is, like, I mean, most of these ideas are really good, but it is a problem with found footage where you get the effects are kind of bad and it's a shaky cam that I think you get people that are like, this isn't scary, this is stupid. Where then you get,
Poor execution.
yeah. But then, for those movies, it's like you get like your Gungeon Haunted Asylums or you get your Hell House LLCs that are just amazing found footage
You ever
movies.
see Grave Encounters?
Oh, hell yeah. I love both of them.
Yeah, that's a good one. They're
So
good.
great.
I like it.
Yeah, I love both of them. I think the second one gets a lot of shit, but there's
It's
a
not bad.
in February, I had to like quarantine because I thought I had COVID, and there was like for like 4 days straight, I just stayed up and watched as many found footage movies as I could, and I watched Encounters, both ones, and I just were so good, and I think the second one is so smart in that it's a little meta where they kind of go with, it was a fake film, but then they get to the actual real hospital and it was actually all real all along.
Yeah.
Was just awesome. It's like that, like reverse of like it was just a trick all along, where it's like, no, this has been real the whole time. People have been lying about it being real, which is cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I feel in this third wave a lot more good has come rather than imitating. They like kind of get their own ideas, and for the
oh yeah,
most part, they're executed pretty well.
oh yeah. I think it's, a good found footage movie. I think is so, like when it's executed right, is like amazing. Like it's such a
Oh
good
yeah.
film because a good found footage movie is they're really scary. Like Houses October Built is actually scary. Hell House LLC is actually scary. Blair Witch
Yeah.
is actually scary. And I think it's because there's a it's tricky to pace found footage movies
Oh yeah. Because
because it's like,
you're essentially cutting together it's like you're cutting together footage.
yeah. And so it's like you either spend too much time with the characters and you get bored and you get people saying that it's just people talking in front of a camera for an hour and a half,
Yeah.
or you have jump scares and loud noises and glitch effects and the shaky cam, and you get people saying that they just felt like sick watching it and like dizzy and it's not scary. It's just a bunch of loud noises and cheap effects.
Right.
And so it's like,
So
you know, it's
let me
tough to
ask
kind of toe that line.
let me ask you the same question. Do you think in the next few years something's going to come along, kick it up again?
I do. I think that you need to find a way to sort of make it fresh again, which I think right now is what found footage is trying to figure out, is like,
Yeah.
how do we, because even though the ideas are original and everything, the execution of it is all still very the same. So it's like you need to find a way that, and again, it goes with the marketing, because even Paranormal Activities marketing, you had to go to your movie theater and request that the movie come to your city,
Yeah.
and the trailers were never of the movie. It was always of like the audience reaction, the theater reaction.
Yeah.
So I think that's really where we're gonna see a fourth wave come, where it's all in the marketing. You need to market a new found footage movie in a way that's really going to kind of tap into like the general zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Which I think is tough, especially now because everything is so digital and everything is so social media, that I thought searching was kind of going to do that. But I just don't think the marketing was strong enough. It's a great movie, but I don't think the marketing was strong enough to sort of really tap it into pop culture, like these other movies.
You know what's not going to do it?
Hmm.
I don't even remember the name of the fucking movie, but it came out a couple months ago, and I went to the movies and saw it. Really? I don't remember the name of it, but it was definitely like it's a lot like Searching, except I don't think it executed well. It was like a journalist pretending to want to be Muslim to like get into the terrorist network.
Never even heard of that.
I can't remember the name of it. It was not good though, and I went to the fucking theater and saw it because I thought it looked pretty decent.
Well, I think another thing. I mean, another thing with found footage movies is that's kind of tricky. Is like you can either have the weird kind of documentaries that are like Megan is Missing or the Poughkeepsie tapes. The Poughkeepsie tapes to me is such a it's good, but it's freaky. Or you have your supernatural kind of ones like Paranormal Activity or I don't know, like whatever the other ones are, like VHS and stuff. And so I think I think where the problem is that when you have stories like that, especially, or when you have more stories like Paranormal Activity, you already know it's fake.
Right.
Which I think sort of loses the effectiveness of it, because when you go in, and even though watching like Poughkeepsie tapes and stuff like that, it's like, I know this is fake, but the way it feels like a documentary, it feels like someone is actually mailing in tapes like this.
Right.
It's scary, as opposed to when you watch Paranormal Activity and it's a security footage of some pots and pans moving. It's like,
yeah.
So yeah, I think the next big found footage movie needs to do a marketing push where it feels like a newscast. Something like, I think something like the Poughkeepsie tapes could have propelled itself into like this weird pop culture thing, as it being such a messed up movie. Again, if the marketing was behind it, to just do something really creative, like make fake newscasts about a killer and make a website and have people look into all this fake information and stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's ways they can get it done.
Yeah, I think, I definitely think we're due for a new found footage movie to sort of make the impact.
Yeah, I mean, Paranormal Activity came out like 10 years ago. Well, like maybe 12 years ago.
I think, yeah, I think a little bit more than that, yeah.
Yeah, I think they could do I think we could stand to see something fresh. It's gotta be fresh though,
Yeah. So I think that's it for this episode.
Yeah.
I think
that's all we had.
I think that's everything. Do you kind of want to tease? I mean, we've kind of talked about it already, but do you want to kind of tease a little bit of what we're talking about next week?
Well, guys, found footage part 2. We're going into the Hell House. It's probably going to be more of the same. I mean, I love it. So
hopefully we can get a little more information about this one
Mhm.
than we talked about Houses Octoberville. Yeah, Houses Octoberville was a pretty fucking, just kind of came out of nowhere. There wasn't really any information.
Yeah.
And still none readily available, really. So,
Oh,
yeah, that's about it. We're gonna get out of here. Film section. Another episode down, guys. Like, share it, comment, feedback. Twitter.com/the film section. Follow us. Do everything. Watch, listen, whatever you do.
yeah. Even go in the comments and talk shit. It doesn't matter. Any sort
Exactly.
of feedback.
You can comment. Yeah, I don't care. Do it. Just do it. I wanna know. I wanna know what other people think. We know what we think. We talk about this shit all the time. Just let us know what you think. I'll take questions and feedback. I don't even care.
Yeah,
I'll
dude.
take somebody respond.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.